on, player like me, burn fast in the heat. Fall victim to the game for the fame I'ma meet. A hollow ass grave being brave till I cease. Terminate my foes cause they hoes in the street.
What's up, everybody? It's Soren Baker here on Unique Access Entertainment. Please, if you haven't already, please subscribe. That enables us to keep coming to y'all as often as possible with as many interviews as possible. The button's right down there and it's free. That enables us to keep coming at y'all. So please hit that subscribe button, like our content, share it, talk about it, be about it, each one, teach one. We appreciate you guys' support getting us this far. And of course, you can hit us on that Cash App, Unique Access ENT. Now, today we have the honor and the privilege of being joined by somebody I'm excited to see how his career is going to keep progressing, but he's got a lot of good momentum. Mr. Dee, thank you for coming through.
What's up? What's up? Thank you for having me, man. Thank you. Thank you.
Yes. So I got to give a big shout out to Tony A, as always, longtime fan of his. He's obviously a friend of Unique Access Entertainment. He's got his Tony Vision making major moves as well. And, you know, Tony A hit me up like, man, have you heard of Mr. D? You got to check him out. So I'm glad that Tony A put in that call and that I did check out Mr. D because he's got a lot of good stuff. So first of all, congratulations on that, Mr. D. And
thank you. Appreciate it.
Yeah. So I wanted to know how did you get connected with Tony A and what's his how has he been helping you?
So the connection came through a podcast I was introduced. At the time it was called Hood Stocks. It was ran by someone called Lucky. So I had met him through a mutual friend that he had interviewed as well. It was about like a mushroom experience or whatever. And he just saw me and he looked at me and he gave me that look like, man, I got a gangbang, man. Like, let me bang on this dude real quick. Like, where are you from, homie? And I let him know. And he's like, oh, really? You make music? And I'm like, yeah, man. Like, and then that's when everybody there was like, yeah, he has bars. He can actually spit. He has that momentum with him. He just doesn't like to present it, you know, to everybody. So he was like, all right, you know what? We're going to give him a shot. So what they did was that during the break, they had said that, all right, you got 5 minutes to wow us. And if you don't, you're going to get the boot. So me being me, I got a little nervous. You know, this was my big break. You know, I did good. I did a little remix to the Fuck You instrumental by Dr. Dre. And everybody liked it. You know, the host, Lucky, he loved it. He was, all right, you know what? We got to have you again. So brought me back to a whole episode dedicated solely just to me. And it went really good. That's when Tony contacted Lucky and he said, I got to have this dude, man. That's exactly who I was looking for, you know? And to my surprise, looking at my comments, everybody was saying, yeah, you got to connect with Rhodium Radio, Tony A. That's where you got to go. And sure enough, they were right.
Yeah.
You know?
And now I know you guys are doing a lot of great work together, and we'll get to that in a minute. But I know from watching some of your interviews and listening to some of your music that Whodini in particular was somebody that you liked a lot. So given that they were out a few years before your time, probably, what resonates with you about Whodini and why are they so significant to you?
Ooh. Okay, so that's a really great question. The reason why I connect with them so well is because of the popping element, right? The breakdancing, everything about it was just like, it made me who I am today. You know, I had to really go through the basement of hip hop, you know? And when I came across Whodini, Friends, you know, 5 minutes of funk, I got hooked. You know, I couldn't stop listening to it. I was like, man, I gotta pop, you know, I can't do it right. But then I started getting into Breakin, and that's when I was like, man, I am late, you know? Yeah.
It's all good. So for the people that know, to people that don't know, what part of LA did you grow up and how did you get into B-boy and breaking, all that stuff?
So I grew up in North Hollywood. You know, I'm from the San Fernando Valley, the 818. We're just a couple miles away from LA County in general, you know? And the reason why I want to say that everybody should check out breakdancing, because I want to say it did kind of lure me away from gangs and everything, but when it came to the music, like you couldn't really just gravitate away from it. You know, it just kept dragging you in, you know. And in my neighborhood, we had a lot of older homies, you know, that they just listen to a lot of old school music, you know. And when they found out that I was listening to it, they just kept pushing me to it. You know, they were like, "Nah, man, check this out," you know. And they just kept lacing me up, so we say. And they were like, "Man, like you got to check out more than Whodini. You got to check out Nucleus. You got to check out Grandmaster Flash." You know, they were just hitting me with so many different artists, and at the time, I knew a few of them. You know, of course, you know Grandmaster with the message, but they told me, "Nah, man, you got to listen to that song he dropped, that Breakin." You know, at the end, all the way at the end, when he was talking about the world corruption and you know how times were, it made me be like hip hop was more of a way to get your message out there opposed to just using it for the glamour and fame. You know, it was fun, but it was definitely more for of a way to inspire other people the way that it did to me.
Yeah, because one of the things that it did so well, and I can tell by the passion for what you talk and listening to your music, that it's very emotional for you, but it's also gives people emotion. And I think that I've heard you talk about similar types of things in some of your other interviews, but I think the emotional connection people have with music is so important. And I think, as you've said at other times, I think part of the reason why people look at music now as disposable or just some in the background is because they can't, other than just being there, it doesn't mean anything to them really.
Yeah, exactly.
So what is it about, and how did you realize, or what made you realize the difference of appreciating music from back in the day versus the music now?
Oh, huge difference. And the reason why I say that is that you can just feel it through their passion and the way that they pronounce their words. You know, I'm trying to still understand that. I'm not fully there, and I fully understand that. You know, like, because the best example I can give you is Run-DMC. You know, man, LL Cool J. You know, the way that they deliver their words and their sentences, they're doing it with so much ease that it sounds like they're actually speaking to you. You know, and that's what I wanna show people. You know, I wanna how can I say it? I wanna push people towards that direction in order for they can understand that it's more than just sound, you know? And I don't know. I just really hope people look at it as almost like a Bible almost when people look at albums, you know? Not to, you know, like not to cut into the religious stuff, you know, but that's how almost I kind of see certain artists as well, you know?
Okay, makes sense. And then when you did start writing and different things, and did the Whodini Friends over as your own, what made you, of all the songs, instead of 5 Minutes of Funk, why'd you pick Friends?
Well, Friends was I kind of associate my lyrics with the instrumentals I take, you know. So if I were to be writing over Friends, I had to write about something like, okay, so what associates with friends? Betrayal, trust, you know. So I kind of just I dragged on the subject with that, you know. And quick example I could give you, Ambitions as a writer, the remix that I did. So I just kept bringing on ideas, you know, that resonates with it, you know. Anything that just I feel like kind of has an umbrella to it, I just go on with it. Don't get me wrong, 5 Minutes of Funk, I'm gonna conquer that real soon, you know. But
Okay.
yeah.
Well, because with Friends, and this is a theme in some of your stuff, and there's a lot of lyrics that I wanted to ask you about, but you were talking about in my heart, I'm a killer, put the body in the trunk, all this stuff, which doesn't really match the Friends element.
Yeah. No, yeah. With that one, it was kind of like a free writing, you know. I was still starting off. I was trying to kick my feet off the ground. You know, I didn't really fully understand the elements of songwriting. It was more of a how can I say it was during the time and day that I just wanted to put out a mixtape together and show people that I had the ability. Not necessarily like that I'm showcasing my skill, but just showing that I can at least put two and two together, if that makes sense.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Because lyrically too, on the Imaginary Player, how you were talking about there's more to living than staying faded and stuff like that. Since being high is such a big deal in a lot of the music that people make today, Why was
Yeah.
that? Why was that something you wanted to address? That's not so important.
Well, I actually had lost a friend of mine he was pretty close, to he overdosed. And I always told myself that I I, I want to encourage people to drop that pipe, you know what I'm saying? To see that life actually has more of a bigger meaning than just trying to elevate yourself and escape that reality. There's really no point of escaping it when you still go back to it. That's what I'm trying to prove to people. You can get high for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, an hour, but when that comes back, you're still gonna be placed in that same position that you were in, and then going and backtracking, you're just making a fool out of yourself. And that's what I want to make people understand, that I want to make them bigger and better that they are, because I do rap about, the gangster rap element and everything, but that only comes from anger sometimes. It's not just to glorify it, and saying that, oh, some killings are justifiable, but I feel like people need to understand that education is key, and that's what I want to preach, at least in my music.
Right. Well, that's why I was intrigued, because there is that balance or there's a variance in the music of some of it being super hardcore and violent, but then also very thoughtful and reflective at the same time. So I was intrigued in that. But you have a lot of other music that I want to get to, but more recently you did the introduction video that Tony A directed, and you blended two songs together. But through the whole video, it's black and white. So why'd you guys decide to make it black and white?
So we wanted to go with the old school look and try to bring it like how can I explain it? It's from the perspective of being just old, you know what I mean? Like you said, blending two together, and we wanted to blend 2 decades together, and the best way that we could was making it just black and white, taking away the color, taking away the time, just bringing the nostalgia effect back.
Okay. And speaking of that, in the beginning of the video, before you start rapping, you're playing Easier Said Than Done as you're doing the irony. And that's one of my favorite Eazy-E songs. So what do you like so much about Eazy-E?
Ooh, now that's he right there. He set the role for me too. I wouldn't be wearing Locs if it wasn't for him, and that's the fact. But to me, gangster rap wouldn't be where it is now, at least, if it wasn't for him. I try my best to dig back into his history. It's pretty dope, but at the same time, it's kind of tricky with the whole labels that, once they started separating. But man, one thing that I really learned from him is that he was a great businessman. He was a great man. He was a great loyal friend. And that's what I liked about him, and it went more deeper than just his music, and I feel like my connection with the artist, at least, is what kind of makes it sort of a bigger deal, people can say that, oh, he dropped a good track, it made me cry, it made me think about certain things, but honestly, that plays an effect, but it also, in my opinion, depends on what that type of person is behind that microphone, you know what I'm saying? And sometimes their music shows one side, but then you hear another side in certain interviews from different people, what type of a person they were. And that's what I want to get at, he was a great person.
Yeah, definitely. It seems his story is one that needs to have a better telling, that's for sure. And he's extremely important, and especially on the Easier Said Than Done album, the Easy Does It album. He has so much good music on there.
Man, he has some classics that to this day still rock in the trunk, and many people can't say that, and that's one thing that people lack now: timeless music. You're not gonna be talking about certain songs now in 10 years, 5 years, 3 years, let alone 30. But of course, we talk about him every day. We're talking about it right now, and that's one thing not a lot of people get.
Right, absolutely.
Be sure to check out The History of Gangster Rap by Soren Baker. He's official.
History of Gangster Rap features exclusive interviews with Ice-T, Snoop Dogg, MC Ren, the D.O.C, and dozens of others. The History of Gangster Rap, a definitive look at how Los Angeles changed rap forever.
In Los Angeles, the streets definitely set the tone of the hip-hop music.
At 19, I got a $50,000 car.
My whole angle always was, I'll be street, but I will always tell you the horrors that go along with this life.
There will be penalties and casualties for just wearing the wrong color in somebody's neighborhood.
And once gangster rap made it from the streets to the TV, the genre exploded.
With Fab 5 on Yo MTV back with NWA.
Yo MTV, it just catapulted us from being local heroes to national gangbang rappers.
The History of Gangster Rap discusses it all from 1980 up till today.
It's always gonna be shit happening in the streets. You know what I mean? So it's always gonna be something to talk about.
The History of Gangster Rap in stores now.